Greetings, and welcome once more to Channel Other Doc. I am Jim, your friendly Lacuna GM. I use he, him pronouns, and this is our Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox. Invisible Sun is a surreal slice-of-life game by Monte Games. We are integrating the directed campaign, but most of this game happens spontaneously. Let us go around and say hello to everyone, and we shall start with Djinnaya. Hello.
Hello. My name is Djinnaya, and my pronouns are she, her. And I play Shah Gamelon, an established gallant of the Order of Makers who cages adversaries. And Shah also uses she, her pronouns. And yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And let's move on to Wilde. Hello.
Yes. Hi, I'm a wild engineer, he, they pronouns, and I am playing Shatano, an itinerant empath of the Order of Apostate who splinters into fragments. They use they, them pronouns.
Excellent. Excellent. And now we move on to Arras. Hello.
Hello, I am Arras, or Animus Panthera. My pronouns are she, her, and I am playing Aroshka Ruzik, an aromatic empath apostate who converses with everything, who also uses she, her pronouns.
Cool. We missed you last time.
Yes. I was hanging out with my family.
It's good. It was for a good cause. And Anino, hello.
Hi, my name is Anino. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing the character Mac the Husk, who is an itinerant enthusiastic of the Order of the Goetica, who provides a vessel for spirits.
Excellent. And finally, Danielle, hello.
Hello, I am Danielle, she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Vormera Vanas, also she, her pronouns. Vormera is a connected ardent of the Order of Weavers who shepherds minds.
Excellent. Cool. All right, so before we dive in, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of the players, any of them can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we will back up and do something else. If something happens that they're okay having in the game, but they don't want a graphic description of it, they can type an N in the Zoom chat, and we'll fade to black on it, or we'll put it behind a veil. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if you're exploring a topic or area of roleplay that's particularly intense for you, but you want to keep going, you can put an O in the chat to let us know you're okay and that we're good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we are moving into a difficult topic, or say or do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond and let us know if we're still doing okay. And as we return to this game, let's see what happened last time. I think something happened last time. So after some time, the party was continuing, as it tends to, eternally, for that is part of its purpose. We found that a few people ran into, were having conversations with folks. Vor did find someone that apparently knew her from before, and apparently it was someone who was supposed to correct imbalances. That's basically sort of a strange bounty hunter-ish type job. Who apparently had to, she discovered, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Child, who had apparently before had to come in after she did something involving mind reading. That was kind of the thing that was going on. Mr. Child, the rectifier, and so he got that piece, but did in fact let him know. He just sort of booted her out of his head. She read his mind, and he was like, "Okay, get one," but she indicated to him the conversation was not over. Furthermore, let's see, Shah had ended up coming back to the party after going off and working on some stuff. Had come back and managed to find Vor. Also found the hostess, Isabella, who was had been just drifting from place to place. No sign of Aroshka yet at this point. Apparently she had wandered off somewhere. They met up again and were coming back into the main room. Mac and Shantano were still mingling with the guests, but at one point, it was discovered that one of the guests, Soraya, was not in fact who she was pretending to be. She was in fact apparently someone that people are recognizing as an ex of Isabella's. It was basically someone saw through the disguise and it melted away, and he pulled out a knife, demanded to be able to talk to Isabella because he wasn't able to get to her all evening. And then Mac immediately, disarmed him in perhaps almost literal sense, basically broken arm. His other arm just sort of reached up and cast a spell that set off an alarm that caused the strip mall that they had seen floating outside the building to come zooming forward. And these sort of ninja-looking creatures three of them came smashing in through the windows. And there was a bit of a conflict to be had. And, there was... See, I believe one of them got sliced up a bit by Shah's battle fan, and then another one Vor took care of by setting him on fire, which also subsequently caught fire to the curtains as he was diving out the window and performing a Wilhelm scream. Then the third one, as he was heading toward the little cluster there to try to get to where Isabella's ex-lover was, Shantano just sort of was listening to the coin and thought, okay, I feel I could touch this coin to something and have the essence of death be transferred through it. Let's do it to myself. So they did that. And an interesting thing happened in that there was a point where he sort of was permeated with the stuff, but not death specifically, but the essence of murder. I should point out specifically the essence of murder. This creature that he had met, sort of something perhaps like a totem, for those of you familiar with those things. Is what kind of I think those creatures probably were. Had this moment where it's like, okay, I can transfer this energy and use it to kill anyone I want in this room. You can see their life forces beating, and so Shantano just sort of decided, after some deep contemplation, that to best learn how this worked, and they would just sort of reach out and grab the third assailant as they were passing by, and they died immediately as they sucked out that assailant's soul. And that is actually where we left off at that point. So now at this point, I am thinking there were a couple of things that probably still need to be just sort of settled in the aftermath of that. So if folks don't mind, we're going to go back to the party. First, however, I think I need to talk to Aroshka about where she ended up.
Oh, yes.
So, something that is interesting about this this structure is that it contains all manner of different parties inside it. So there are some rooms, basically places where a party can happen, right? So there are some levels that there's a level that looks just like a sort of a low-key bar. There's a level that looks a lot like the Palace at Versailles. There's a level that has a garden in it, where folks can have, do garden party type things. It's all still basically indoors. It's all still indoors stuff, but sometimes there'll be suggestions of other areas within this building. And so you ended up passing through a few different ones of these. After your conversation with Isabella. So, two things I'm going to ask you now, if I may. And I can help if you need me to, or we can all help if you need us to. My first thing that I'm going to ask is, during the rest of your conversation with Isabella, you recovered a memory of yourself and her. Now, my question is, what is that memory? Now, you don't have to have it immediately, or you can, or if you have like a tiny piece of it, we can have a tiny piece of it. Or we can, we can wait and come back to it.
Let's wait and come back to it because I'm going to take forever thinking about it.
No worries. So just know that you have recovered a memory, and you get to define what that memory is of the two of you. So that's one thing. The other thing is that just has to do with an interesting thing that you found as you were traversing the halls of this party. Because there were a lot of things to talk to here. Now, if you have a thought about an interesting thing that you found, you can let me know that. Otherwise, if you'd prefer, I can draw a card.
Let's draw a card.
Let's draw a card. We shall do that.
I like random things.
Random things are awesome. All right. Okay. I went ahead and I'm just reset the... I'm just going back from the beginning. Since we made it to the Invisible Sun last time anyway, that was, I think, the last thing, so we're good there. All right. Let's see. Let's see what we've drawn. All right. Okay. Interesting. So we have drawn the Lost Star, and so right now, gray magic is up, indigo magic is down. We are. This is from the suit, the family of notions. Its meanings are good or bad luck, great distance, great age, great value. We gaze into the night sky and we see the stars shining back down on us. We wonder what they really are, but that's a secret for another time. Stars represent a higher world where everything is magnified. Everything having to do with the stars is far greater than it would be in our world. Love burns brighter, gems sparkle more beautifully, and children sing more sweetly. At the same time, disasters are more calamitous. Anger seethes more deeply, and armies wage wars far longer. In divination, the Lost Star offers good or bad fortune determined by the card turned after it on the path. Whatever this card suggests, it is epic in scale, something important to the person or in question is a very long way away, very old, or very valuable. The Lost Star amplifies any other results determined by other cards. Okay. So, you enter a room that you have been in before. You are pretty sure. It's not unlike an observatory. It has there are a number of these just telescope-looking devices, and one very large one, and a series of controls, and has a number of flashing panels. It looks very interesting. There are several exits from the room. There is... You get the distinct impression that you've been here before, and that there are... This is a kind of a liminal area. It's actually... You're not sure if this is supposed to be part of the party building or not, based on kind of what you recall of this room. Because you think the last time you were here, it was not part of the Eternal Party. Many lenses beckon. What would you like to do?
Well, I definitely want to go up and look through one of them and see what they're looking at. Either a terrible idea or a great idea.
You look in one of the lenses and you see that they're based on the little controls. They're sort of hand crank things. You can move it. You're overlooking a few different city blocks. Actually not far from where you live. It's kind of actually more focused on the Vance Mansion than anything else, though. But it's so sort of on the north end of town. And as you're sort of figuring out, sort of sweeping back and forth, and you're looking out over your neighborhood, and it's looking out over the Silver Hill neighborhood to the north, and you're looking through, and it's like, there's something missing. It's like... You're sort of panning over it, and it's like, wait, what the... And so you go back. One thing you kind of remember, and also you've actually probably been up there a little bit, even since you came back. And so you still sort of remember from that as well. It was sort of reinforced. You think there's a street missing. There's like an entire kind of block. Sort of a city block that's not there. You're not sure which one. You can't tell from here, but there's... Yeah.
Huh. But there's other lenses too, right?
Yes, there are.
I'm gonna peek through one of the other ones and see if I recognize what's in there.
Yeah. And you're sort of thinking back as you're sort of moving through, and you had people that you talk, even though just looking out over it this way, you kind of feel as though you've looked out over. You think you've looked through that specific one before. And you knew people who lived in that neighborhood. That you kind of, it's coming back to you. But you go to another lens. And yeah, this one is pointed. You can actually see, it's kind of strange. There's like a number of constellations. But the strange thing about it is that they've actually got the lines drawn in. So right now a lady is kind of fighting a stag. Very slowly.
Fascinating.
And it also, in the back of your head, you're like, this is supposed to do something. There's a reason why this is like this. You seem to remember that being the case, too.
Let me see. Because I have. Where is it? Yeah, can I roll a die and try and see if I get a sense of something about its nature past my forte ability? The talking to things.
Ooh, yes. You absolutely may. Let's see. See if I remember. Is there a does it specify how that works?
It says level 1+1 die. When I touch a creature or object, you get a sense of something about its nature or past. So I think it's just like get to roll.
Okay. So this is to get a sense of the observatory, or this specific sort of this lens specifically, or are you touching something else in the observatory?
I'm gonna touch. Did I get the impression, because you said I got the impression that like there was something it was supposed to do. Was that just like the thing as a whole, or specifically the one I was looking through at the time?
You think there's a reason why the lines are drawn in there?
Okay, I'm gonna start with this one.
Okay.
What am I rolling? Am I rolling
All
a?
right. So I think this will be an. We're gonna make this probably in and of itself. This would be an obstacle of. I think an obstacle of about 4, or a challenge of about 4 in and of itself. You have 2 dice to roll. Do you want to add anything else in as you're doing this?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you're looking for a 4 or better. And
Sorry, I have to log in to roll twice.
oh, sure, no problem.
Hot second.
Is there a is there some sort of what does it look like when you use this ability? I don't know if we've actually done this here before.
I don't think I actually have to touch it necessarily. This is just me, touching stuff.
Sure.
Or not touching stuff, but just being like, you. I did that right?
Okay.
Wow.
Those are 3s. So you get a sense that you are going to get some information from this. But what you're sort of learning is you get kind of this impression from it. These are things that are, these objects are very much not, they're very much just, all you get the impression of them as they keep just sort of whispering out is just sort of secrets. That's all it says is secrets. And actually, as you kind of look, every single freaking lens in this place is whispering secrets.
Well.
And you kind of, as you're just sort of, and I'm kind of interpreting, you get this sense from the big one, for the big lens. And it's like, it's kind of trying to communicate with you. I don't know if do you hear them as voices usually, or do you hear them as, are they like something else?
Well, according to the ability, I just get a sense of something about it, but I like the idea that I'm literally talking to objects like they're, words.
So the big lens is kind of just sort of giving you the impression. You realize that as you're going around, I'm not gonna have you roll multiple times for each thing here, but the big lens is kind of saying something different, and what the big lens is kind of saying is, you should not be here. We can't tell you these things. We are protecting you.
Well, I'm gonna hear that and just be like, well, I'm leaving then. Thanks. Make my way on out. Make a note of this place in my mind.
Hurry, it's coming. I think it might be looking for you.
super duper running out of here. Casually, like.
Casual
but
run.
quickly.
The casual jog. There are a lot of exits from this place. Are you just trying to just go the same way you came in, or are you exploring further?
Go to the nearest one, whatever is closest. Going out that door.
I'm gonna draw one more card, and just to see if it. And really, honestly, there are only there are only a couple of things in my head right now that this could be, but I'm just going to see which one it is. All right. Okay, well, here we go. This is the revealing knife. Its meanings are revelation, discovery, and finesse. The revealing knife cuts everything. It slices everything. It slices through buildings or mountains as easily as paper or flesh. Anything that obfuscates what lies beyond or within is cut with precise strokes. We all long for such a tool to cut away the confusion and the lies, but we fear it as well. For what would such a knife slice away from us? What would it expose? The philosopher Timon Grind said, "We always assume that what lies beneath, buried deep, is what is real, but what if the truth is actually the outermost layer? What if the grandest secret in the world is that there are no secrets, and everything is what it appears to be?" Most believe the revealing knife to be the counterpoint to Grind's idea. In divination, when the revealing knife card is turned, it suggests that careful, precise action is required for what lies ahead. It indicates that there are secrets to be discovered, and whether their revelation is a good or ill tiding is up to the individual concerned. When the card is turned, most assume that the next card played on the Path of Suns indicates the nature of the secret revealed by the knife. I'm going to show you something that you spot on the way out for just a moment. This is one of those rare occasions when I am only going to show it to you.
Ooh.
Swirling in the mists beyond one of the lenses right by the door as you're passing through, you spot briefly this. Which I can't just make it leap onto your screen, but if you go to your handouts, you should see there's something there.
I have to get to the handouts. Something. Oh, that's horrifying. Okay. Cool.
You shall be making your way back to the party. So let's go back to the party, shall we? So, as we have seen, there was a bit of an altercation, and you folks will see that the strip mall appears to be drifting away, in somewhat embarrassed. It's in a somewhat embarrassed fashion.
As it should be.
Cha, I need to ask you, did you kill the individual that you sliced open with your fan, or did you let them live?
I think I let them live.
Okay. So, you folks have a subdued, a couple of subdued party crashers here now, and people are kind of in disarray. There are people currently trying to put out the drapes that are currently on fire. What's everyone doing?
Hoping to put out the fire that I started.
Excellent. What would you like? How would you like to put out the fire that you started?
Well, I don't have any kind of ability with water, so I think I may have said this last week, but I want to like rip the drapes down and sort of like step on them, try to like smother the flames.
So I think this is okay. So that's what you're doing. I'm going to go around briefly and just see what folks are doing, and then we'll dive into some individual things. Shao, what are you doing?
I think I'm keeping an eye on this creature that we've subdued and checking in with Isabella. But I think I'm moving really slowly, and if you get close to me, you can kind of hear the sound of quiet sound inside of me of machinery, moving and clunking into place on the inside.
Ah. And I'm actually next. I'm going to ask Mac. What are you doing?
So Mac's justice buzz is starting to wear off now. Mm-hmm. Having sated it by disarming the assailant, he's going to look around for Charles Abernathy just to keep tabs on him, more or less. But yeah, that's basically it. He's just trying to manage the position and also keep an eye on Chantineau, who he just literally witnessed murdering someone.
Yes. Abernathy is right at hand, and let's ask Chantineau. What's Chantineau doing?
Chantineau would probably have sat down in place. It's probably still next to the body. They're probably still next to the body. Kind of looking a bit forlorn, kind of contemplative at the same time.
Yeah. yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's definitely dead. It's definitely dead. So I think that I think the only thing I'm going to call for the only way I'm going to call for a roll here will be on Vor's part. To see about putting out this fire, and I think we're going to set that at I'm going to set that as you're pulling them down, beating them. In and of itself, I think that's going to be a difficulty of 5.
Oh dear. Okay.
So what do you want to bring to it?
Well, you said I'm not the only one who's trying to put out the fire, right? So
yeah, you can treat that as an asset, so we can bring that down to 4.
I don't know that I really have anything else that's actually helpful with this. She's much better at setting fires than putting them out.
That's fair. So just friends and determination. That's really all that's...
This is going to be sheer just willpower to try to put this out. It's probably going to make it worse.
Excellent.
Oh, a 9.
See what you can do with sheer willpower.
Yes.
But that's excellent. That's very good. So what I think I'm going to say is that Arushka is going to be coming up through the same entryway that folks were coming up through last time from the back, and there's going to be this commotion that you hear as you're entering the room, and the first thing that you see is Vor pulling down these flaming curtains and beating them out.
I'm like, I go off to have a nice chat, and now something's on fire. What happened?
These things.
I didn't mean to set the curtains on fire.
Well, what did you mean to do?
Or just sort of I wave an arm at the chaos that's currently going on in this room. And the guy I lit on fire ran out the window, right? That's...
Yeah. He leapt out the window, and you heard a Wilhelm scream, and that was the last you heard of him.
Yeah. So, but the person that Shaw beat is here. The same for the one that Mac beat up. So
yeah.
There's a bleeding ninja basically on the floor, and Shaw has this battle fan kind of held over him, and she looks at you and goes, "It was necessary collateral damage."
Yeah, I pointed the ninja that Shaw has. There was a third one, and now there's not.
Why are there ninjas at the party?
And Isabella's actually right there also, because my question is like, I have no idea. Well, actually, I do know, unfortunately. Is he still conscious? You see, she raises her fan and just sort of points across the room to where Mac is at the where he's been holding the where dealing with the intruder.
Yeah. So is he? Because I heard him pretty badly.
Yeah, I think he's probably passed out at this point.
Oh. No, he passed out from the pain.
That's very like
Mac
him.
is just gonna Mac is just gonna shrug a little bit and yeah.
Charles is turning and says, and this is as everyone's hearing a clock striking, and Charles says, yes, he was Mac was very fast and did an excellent job. He just saved my bacon, certainly. He deserves to be commended. Where'd he go? As the clock strikes midnight.
Oh. Yeah. So there's a 4-second pause, and you'll see Mac reappear in spot and go, and he doesn't look worse for wear. If anything, he looks pretty restocked and feeling fine. It was an autosave, so yeah, right here. Sorry.
Tom sort of is like, and I will say, now normally, Mac, when this happens to you, it's just like you just come right back. You gave an impression of something.
Okay.
Like, you briefly saw something during that gap.
Okay.
And it's the thing that you saw is actually you saw a couple of faces, and they are people that you recognize. It's like I say a couple, maybe like a handful of faces. They are all people that you recognize, that sort of live, you think, a little bit in the up in the Silver Hill neighborhood, a little bit north of your neighborhood.
Okay.
And it's just sort of this sort of random. They're Vizsli, and you think that it's like people from just very briefly the Flash. It's like people. They're all in the same sort of social circle. You think up there, the people that you saw, but that was kind of weird.
It is weird. It's like someone flashed a cutscene in the middle of my game save.
It is weird. Yeah, that's what happens. And so Isabella's going to just come over and kind of people can follow her if they so desire. In the meantime, folks are you're done sort of putting out the fire, and they're just kind of like sort of looking down, and people are sort of looking around. There's a question of whether or not the authorities should be called, and she's sort of shaking her head, and it's like, well, I suppose, I don't know, they don't like coming in here, but we can see. This is the first time we've been raided. That's a first. Damn it, Paris, why do you do these things? She says to the unconscious guy.
I don't know how to do this in narrative, but is there a way for me to tell kind of like the difference between the what would be the level of the Elderbryn in front of me and the level of my cage.
Ooh. What level is your cage?
It's only a level 1 because I'm at the beginning, so I can only cage one level above.
I think, if I recall correctly, I think I said they were like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Last time I think I was having to roll at least 3s. So I think we'll say that the one that that this one's probably a little too powerful for you to do ordinarily with it. If there is some sort of enhancement or other thing you would like to try to do in this situation to kind of force him in there, you can certainly make an attempt.
I don't think that I have that skill.
Okay.
I'm kind of looking at the description, and it seems pretty direct. It must be of a level no higher than the level of effect. So does that mean the level of the cage? It's a level 1 spell, so is that...
Yeah, unless there's I have a feeling that boosting the level of an effect might fall into the secrets category.
Right. Okay.
I'm not entirely
Another
certain.
time. And I'll just keep my knee in this guy's bloody chest and hold him there.
That's effective for right now. Yeah, certainly. Basically, and so our folks are sort of looking at the ninjas that are, and they sort of determine they think that these are probably Elderbryn because it's like one of them, the one that died, it sort of changed shape after it died, so it was kind of a giveaway, sort of into a somewhat different, sort of shorter, kind of more scaly looking humanoid, and then it's just sort of, so
I'm gonna go find the scotch that I probably had to put down in order to wield my sword cane, and just like one fell swoop.
It's right over there.
And then I'll chase it with a little bit of champagne.
Yeah. Double fisting. What's everyone else doing at this point?
If I followed Isabella over to her unconscious ex, I don't know that because I wasn't here, but if I follow over and I'm like, who is this guy? Do I recognize him in any way, shape, or form?
Yes. His name is Paris. For some reason, you do kind of remember him because he was kind of obsessive, and you kind of remember him and Isabella being together.
Okay. All right. I have nothing to die. I just wanted to know if I knew him. Now I do. I'm like, this explains many things. Possibly.
Yeah. She's just sort of looking down, sort of disapprovingly. She says, "All right, folks. Emergency is over. I think we can deal with. Does anyone have rope? Someone surely must have like 50 feet of rope on them somewhere. I think isn't that like a standard thing people are supposed to carry these days?
I also have a curtain.
You got plenty of.
I got lots of curtain. I actually say that as I hand her the curtain.
You got plenty of curtain. That like rope pull from the curtain, like one
I think just the ropes will do.
The tassel.
Yeah, the tassels. Yeah. I'm gonna offer that because there's no curtain anymore that they need to hold back.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about those curtains anymore. The band picks back up again hesitantly, and she just sort of gets the fish out running back and forth on the floor serving drinks, and then it sort of is says he's gotten so much worse since this, and she's just very casually she sort of hands the rope to actually if someone volunteers to tie them up, she'll hand the rope to them, otherwise she'll hand it to Abernathy.
So Mac will take the rope and begin to do the tie. He'll actually helpfully pop that guy's shoulder back into its socket. Just
How nice.
I
It's
know.
very good of you.
So he'll do that. It's easier for him to tie him up that way anyway. So
And as she's just sort of looking over, she glances over and she sees Shaw still kneeling on the chest of this other one. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, we need to. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to leave you kneeling there."
Oh, it's fine. I think this one is yours.
Oh. See, I don't recognize him, but apparently it's. I think. Are these? I've been hearing stories about mercenaries. That Paris has been running with a bunch of mercenaries, so this could be some of them. Yeah, mercenaries from the Gold.
Oh, the gold.
Yes. There's... it's a little complicated, but there's this sort of odd political thing that's going on between the Guardian and some of the sort of collective of folks over there. I remember that Paris had gotten a little tangled up in that at one point.
So are the mercenaries on the side of the Guardian?
No, decidedly not. No, her elegance would never, I think, countenance this kind of thing.
Well, then maybe this belongs to her.
Oh, I do like that. It would be very interesting to just sort of let her have a go at these. I mean...
It's always good to put things back where they belong.
It is, isn't it? It is. We'd have to actually go there, though. That's the only problem. It may take a little while. But, it's something that can happen. How do you confine a thing like this? A person like this?
Well,
Because you can just sort of change its shape, so we have to be a little careful.
yeah, normally I could try, but I think that he might be a little bit much for the Gowling.
Huh. How are you at stasis chambers? Have you worked with any of those?
Stasis chambers. I mean, I imagine they're much like a Gowler's cage.
It probably. It's there's. Well, we have one left over. For people who sometimes they get a little bored and they just want to see but they don't want to leave the party, And so they just come out when the guests have rotated a bit. So we could put him in one of those.
Is it portable? Could we carry it to the gold?
I mean, I've never tried to move it. You might be able to figure something out. If you wanted to take a look at it, I mean, it's up to you.
I would love to.
Okay, sure. Let's do that. And so she starts getting that, again, sort of helping you tie this one up, at least for the time being, and realizing that, they're having to make several additional knots just simply because it's like
It changes shape every time you tie a knot.
What's everyone else doing right now? Anything?
So, Mac is going to actually want to have a chat with Abernathy.
Okay.
Talk a little business.
You have ample time to. You've tied up this ruffian, and they are now currently, basically, they're trying to figure out what to do with him. But you've got a few moments while they're doing that.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we can throw him to the authorities. We can register a complaint. We can get him disbarred, that kind of thing. And
Disbarred? Is he a lawyer?
he might be. I don't.
Yeah.
He could be. They snap, then these things happen.
Sure.
Yeah. And Abernathy's there, and he's just sort of shrugging his shoulders. He's like, "Right, well, that's. I think I'd rather just stand at a bit of remove from this one. I think at this point."
Yeah. And
Now that we know who he was, though, that makes much too much sense. Never did like him.
no, I imagine not. Seems a little desperate to be approach a ex-girlfriend in this manner. I guess some things just don't change from the gray.
No, sadly not. Can I get you a drink, by the way?
Sure. Just a water. I'm a bit parched right now.
Oh, certainly, my dear fellow. And he gets, the fish brings over a water, and he gets it for you. I say, where'd you learn to move like that?
I don't know. When I came back into the gray, came back into the actuality, my memories were a bit hazy. And I came back to see my house on fire. And
Oh, dear.
so everything that I could have used to find out who I was sort of just went up in smoke.
Oh, my goodness. Have you sought any means of perhaps finding another way to look back? Did nothing survive?
Nothing survived the house. I forgot. What's the name of that thing that we all carry around again? The Vertula Times. It was something.
There are a couple of things that could
Testament?
be. The Testament of Sons, or yeah. Oh, yeah. So people in orders have a Testament of Sons. Apostates have the Vertulicata.
Yeah, no. It was a bit of a mess. Way worse than what happened here. Some people had attacked my house and lit it ablaze. And when they pulled me in from the gray, they took my vertilicata and I wasn't able to recover it. Fortunately, one of the a member of the Church of Illuminism had been around and managed to make a save, and fortunately he blew up the vertilicata in the process. So
Huh. Well, that's hardly civil.
no, not at all. So I don't know really who I am. I guess the husk part sort of means I have to fill it with something. But
Oh, my dear fellow. Well, now I do know somebody that might be able to provide answers. It could be a little dangerous, but certain points of information might be able to come up. Well, two things, in fact. But it's always tricky recovering lost things from the past, right? But as it happens, from what I understand in this neighborhood, there is a place called the House of the Forgotten, through which some things might be recoverable. Also, there was someone up in Silver Hill I heard once had... trying to remember their name. Someone who specialized in... It's on the tip of my tongue. He says... trying to open the right tab. Something about... I can't remember exactly what it was. It was something to do with someone who had hold of a thing called a lockless key. And Mac, actually, that is that kind of also triggers a memory on your part. You've heard of this. You're not sure where you've heard of this, but you have heard of this. And you think it was one of the. It actually is something held by one of the people whose faces you saw in that blink.
Huh.
And it's not actually an item. It's more of yeah. It's actually sort of a creature you think you'd heard about that that person had was keeping up there, and her name is Mercy.
Sorry, the creature's name was Mercy?
No, the person who was keeping the creature. The creature is the lockless key.
Wow. That's just real trippy.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's yeah. I can't recall the exact details, but it's there's a couple of things of that nature. I'll probably do some research if nothing else.
That's a good start, but that's thinking a little bit more long term. Short term, I'm more interested in advancing quickly. I have this feeling or this idea that I was much more knowledgeable and skilled as of late than I am now, and decided that it would be much easier to just replace everything rather than just try to recover it.
Well, there's a certain poetry to that. At least just sort of leaving those concerns behind, focusing on the now. That's perfectly understandable.
I thank you. But I do have 2 questions for you, and Mac is going to wave over Vor, just a little, just to settle a matter. And then, so 2 questions. The first one is, could you use your assistance? I need to learn the invocation of knowledge. I'm prepared to advance to the 2nd degree. From what I understand, I need to summon a entity or a spirit of a certain power, and I could use a 2nd to back me up in case something were to happen. More or less.
Of course, I'd be delighted to assist with that. It's the least I can do.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm a little gun-shy about trusting other people at the moment, and my colleagues, as esteemed as they are of different orders, so this is more go-etting business.
Of course.
And as far as my 2nd question, he's just going to wait for Vor to arrive.
Oh, no, I've already edged over. I'm just completely drinking from my champagne flute.
Yeah. I think I had sensed a little bit of tension between you and Gilda Warden from earlier.
Tension is a nice word for it.
Were you too close?
We had a very interesting assignation. One that she is all too keen, I think, to forget.
Does that satisfy you, Vor?
Vor leans in a little bit closer and says, "What type of assignation?"
Oh, well, I feel as though we need to make a roll here to get this information out of Abernathy. It's not probably going to be anywhere near as difficult as the last roll that I had on this topic, but I can't remember what I called for on that. So let's see. So let me pull up Abernathy real quick. And let's see what we have here. Seriously? Okay. So he's I'm not going to use his level for this.
Oh, that's intimidating. Okay.
Yeah. Apparently he's a lot better at this than I thought.
All right.
So he's gonna. I think we're gonna call this a level 4 challenge.
Okay.
Okay. Are we? Which am I making the roll? Because I asked the question.
I think that really Mac is the one who initiated. So I think Mac is probably going to be making the roll, but you can help.
Matt's making the roll. I don't want to help. This means Mac wins with that.
Oh, that's fair. Let's see. Who had to roll last time that this was asked about?
Last time it was me because I was talking to somebody kind of separately.
I think it's only fair Mac rolls for this one. Then.
Should we roll off against each other again like we did in our previous competition? So Charles is the answer.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So difficulty 4, you said?
Yes.
I will use my last interaction penny, if that is appropriate here, so to lower the 3.
Sure.
As well as my skill and charm, so I'll flutter my eyelashes.
Yeah, and you've still got the butterflies going, so that's.
Yeah, so I'll flutter my eyelashes and be like, very charming and like I won't tell anyone. No secret. So does that get me down to 2?
Yeah.
Right. Right. I will roll mine.
Oh, really?
Okay, so you got exactly what you needed for that. So Mac, what are you bringing into this?
I'm just going to use one interaction.
Okay. So I'll drop it to 3. Okay. So your margin of success was actually better than Vor's. And just so that Jim remembers clearly, your bet your bet was that he and I've forgotten the name of
Gilda.
Gilda.
We both thought that he and Gilda had some kind of romantic history. The bet was specifically on who could get confirmation of it.
Gotcha.
First.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's going to. So he's going to just sort of like, as he's sort of drinking, he's going to kind of lean over to Mac. And he will say, well, we were once quite close, but as things evolved, let's just say there was a reason she started working on ways to confine people.
You sly dog, you. I mean, I suppose it comes with the territory of the Goetica.
Oh, it can indeed. It can indeed.
So, and with that, he will toast to Charles Abernathy. And, yeah. Well, to new friendships.
Indeed. New friendships. I'm going to hop over now. I want to find out what Shantanu is doing. Are you still staring down at the the butlers are getting ready to dispose of the body. What would you like to do?
Oh, Shantano doesn't care about the body.
Okay.
Shantano, some of the essence of the Elderbrand came into him, right?
Yes.
So they're probably trying to sort that out, like see what they can get from this essence, like what it conjures up in them, you know.
Okay. So a few basic things you're going to get involve sort of a little bit about the essence of transformation, which is very exciting. And that there's apparently a lot to be, these Elderbrand are from the gold, and apparently things are always in motion there. You get a little bit of the gold, just a little sense of it. And that there's probably a lot to be found about transformation there. As for this specific Elderbrand, I'm going to draw a card. Because when has that ever gone wrong?
Never.
Never. Never at all. Okay.
Almost every time.
So let's see which card we drew this time. And that card would be the Endless Woods. We're back in the Endless Woods. I think we had this card before. Green is up, pale is down. Yeah. So it's interesting because you get a sense of someone who is constantly on the run. Doesn't really know who they are anymore, and so they take on these jobs. So a bunch of these people banded together and they took on these jobs to try to... They kind of built their own ship in a way, which is they built it out of a strip mall. They grabbed hold of a person's of the ideal of a person's memory of a thing from the gray, and they now use it to basically go from place to place on raiding targets that they're given, and they felt they needed definition to be able to really decide who they were, and so they became pirates, basically. Pirates for hire, mercenaries. It is a strange thing. But it felt like they were running from something. As part of this, they just wanted to lose themselves in it. They knew they weren't welcome back home. But then there was something that was maybe not pursuing them specifically, but there's something, you get a sense there's something very dangerous kind of floating about in the ether, as it were, that they also needed to band together to protect themselves from something horrible that seeks out. You're not sure what. Maybe things of significance, things of magical significance, perhaps? Things like them? It's hard to say. It's like in a sense of encroaching doom. as you're sort of peeling back the layers of this soul piece you got a hold of. Something's coming. That's kind of the sense you get.
Right. Well, I think from this, it's probably not giving, Shatano's not giving off too many external cues or anything like that, but if you look closely, they would definitely be shifting and, well, that is the one external cue they're giving. You see them cracking and shifting, and it's this idea that the person they just murdered even though they never knew them, they were connected in some way of not knowing who they were. The idea of taking on work and not just searching for an answer hadn't really come across their mind before. So they'll look at that as an option. But also, since they're splintered into fragments, the idea that running away from a doom doesn't stop it. Because doom isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means change. And all they do is change. So why not seek it out instead of run?
Interesting. Well, there's one of these that is still that is currently imprisoned. Still here. If you wanted to pursue this with one of them further, or is there some other sort of line of inquiry you think you'd want to go on with this, or some other thing you'd want to do?
Probably more of an inquiry into the gold itself, not necessarily where this particular strip mall was going, but the answers could be in that direction. So trying to figure out if they could get information on either how to get to the gold or who could give them information about the gold.
Okay. All right. Cool. I will say that given the timing of a few things, and as you're sort of sorting them out, you do recall that someone you think was just talking to Shaw about the gold a little while ago. You did overhear that.
Mm-hmm.
And before we make an absolute determination on that count, I'm gonna hop back over to Eroshka, just to find out what you've been doing and what you would like to pursue at this point, or if you're hanging out with anyone in particular.
I think I'm still just hanging out with Isabella. I was probably like, so what happened? And like getting the story.
Yeah. So Isabella, just so you're aware, Isabella has been in the process of taking Shaw down to where the stasis, the stasis chambers are.
I definitely did not go with them there. I was like, yeah, and I'm good. Have fun with that, guys.
But if you want to talk to her before she goes, you can, certainly. Did you want to talk to her before she goes?
I'll ask somebody else what happened then.
Okay.
I'm probably going to go find some random person who was there and ask. Just like, hey. Seem to miss a lot of excitement at this party.
So, you have So there are people in the party who are there if you wanted to talk to them, but otherwise I can pull up the guest list again.
I'll just the first person I run into. I'll be like,
let's see. Yeah, so in addition to, where is it? There it is. There it is. Got it. So yeah, of sort of the folks around, you see there's still you see you see Araya, who was the travel writer, who is got in part a we could look for the word jellyfish, sort of jellyfish spirit bonded to her. There, and she's sort of clustered around kind of in the same sort of general vicinity as where Shantano is. There's also a very this short sort of this pale pink octopus looking creature, who is, you think, actually also another Elderbrin. And there's just sort of flitting back and forth between the window. So there's sort of kind of flittering between where Araya and kind of Shantano is, and kind of where Mac and Vor are, along with Charles Abernathy. They're here. And then there are many random partygoers as well, if you have a desire to engage with any of them. I think Gilda might have left at this point. I don't recall whether or not I said about if she was still here or not. But she can be around if you wanted to engage with her. So, any of those catch your fancy? Any?
I already forgot her name, but with the giant octopus floaty.
Oh, the jellyfish
thing. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that one.
There are two sea creatures in the room. There's a jellyfish and an octopus, basically.
The jellyfish person.
Okay. Alright, she's actually kind of not far from. She had come over to just sort of look at as they're sort of hauling this body away. So she's standing fairly close to where Shantano is right now. And so she looks up as you're coming over. And oh, there you are. I think that some of your friends were worried you had vanished for a bit.
I was wandering around the other rooms, found some interesting things. Got yelled at by a giant telescope. It was very exciting. What happened? While I was gone.
Oh yes. No, there's. It was very strange and exciting. It seems that one of Isabella's ex-lovers showed up, and was apparently disguised as one of the other guests, and was trying to get to her, and then that fellow over there, she says, pointing to Mac, stopped him from he was threatening violence. He was going to cut Charles's throat, and then a couple of his people came in, smashed in through the windows over there, and I think a couple of your friends there. I don't see her anymore, but one of them, I think, sort of injured one, and then she says, sort of pointing over to where Vor is, set another one on fire, which was a very big fire. And
not that part.
Yeah, and then well, This this individual, Shantano, is that your name? Stopped that one, she says, pointing to where these fish people are retreating out through the back door with this, carrying this body.
Stopped. Shantano, hello. Are you alright?
Oh, no, I don't think I was in under any danger. But thanks for asking, Aroshka. I mean,
How did you do that?
oh, I guess it wasn't me, in all honesty.
It wasn't.
No, it was. Do you remember that friend I made?
Oh, yes, that friend.
Yes. I think this might have been one of the, I guess you could call it, gifts they gave me.
Right. It's quite a gift.
Looks like only have one more. Hopefully I don't need to use it.
Oh, yes. Hopefully not.
Gift of Quietus?
Of what?
It's a dramatic term, just,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, we were at the World's Fair earlier.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and we visited the Menagerie of Death, and Shantano is very good at making friends. And they, being so good at making friends, made friends with one of the deaths.
I had heard about that that place. They go out. They go out hunting for these totemic beings that represent different kinds of death. Is that right?
Yes. They're a little unsettling.
Well, I mean, not always unsettling. It's a part of the natural order.
Well, fair enough, I suppose, but that's very... You made friends with one of them?
Friends is Friends technically works.
A connection was forged.
Acquaintances probably better.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they just gave you something that you can use to immediately, just instantly kill someone?
I guess. I wasn't aware of what it would do, but
Okay.
that's what it did. I mean, luckily I did not touch one of your other guests.
Yes, we were very lucky in that respect. Are you all right? You've been shifting a bit.
I don't think I've ever been alright.
Honest. Definitely honest.
Yes.
Anyways,
Yes.
Shantano, and I mean you too, Oriya, how are you feeling about this party? Are you feeling rather done for today, maybe?
I think so. I think so, yes. I think... do you want to get out of here?
I do, rather. Do you remember the giant telescope that was yelling at me?
Yes, I do.
It sort of suggested I ought to leave in a hurry.
That's strange. But I didn't think that I didn't think Isabella had installed a telescope here.
I'm not 100% certain it was here exactly.
She's going to need to She's going to need to take a look at another look at the structure here. All right. I know there is a delightful cafe, bar, depends on what time of day it is, that we can go to if you would like. And also, I suppose there's always the broken mirror if we're in a hurry.
Oh yes, it's a very nice place.
Right, well, I suppose we'll work it out on the way. Shall we go?
Let's just see really fast if any of our other friends want to come with us, perhaps.
Certainly. And so while this determination is being made, I want to just quickly shift over to Shaw, who is being led downstairs to an area that's... So... It looks a little bit more, how do I put this? A little more sort of sci-fi hotel-ish down here. In this area where Isabella has brought you to take a look at these stasis chambers. There are, you see kind of what looks like, it's kind of a, so it's a hotel ballroom, right? But there are also video games in here. There's sort of video game cabinets that are kind of lined up that people are playing a little bit. And along one side of the wall there are these pods that they look not unlike the sort of things one might, if one were in Shadow, one might get into to pretend to be piloting a giant robot.
Okay.
But
Mech chambers.
Sort of egg-looking things, yeah. And sort of egg-looking mech chamber things. But these do have kind of sort of glass panels on the side so you can see into them. And as she sort of brings you over, you see that there are people just sort of like holding cocktail glasses, just sort of like, sort of in a few of them, just kind of, just happily lounging inside them, not moving.
Oh man, I want one of these in real life for that moment where you're like, I kind of want to stay here, but I just need like a minute.
Yeah. Can I just jump forward a minute here? So she'll take you to, there are a few empty ones, and she says, okay, well, we can probably use this one. And the fish people that have been escorting this one that is, it's still kind of semi-conscious right now, he is. They throw him in, and she hits a button on the side, the panel comes down, the light comes on, and then you can see as he's getting up and he's sort of half transforming, he's turning more, sort of actually turning now less scaly, as you can see his face now because he took his mask off. And he's sort of coming forward. You can see his eyes are changing color, and he's starting to get hair. He's trying to try to look a little more human as he's coming forward, and then it's like he's caught frozen mid-shift. So they're terribly effective. I don't know how to move them. So maybe if you can figure it, maybe that's something that you might have some ideas.
I mean, I might be able to talk to the makers. I know that we have things for moving equipment around. Is it possible that I have something in the mine for moving heavy things in my blacksmith area? Like I would have stuff for moving metal around.
Yeah, you would totally have, you've got like winches and stuff down there, so you could probably have a portable one you might be able to extricate and bring up.
I have some things in my shop. It might be a little bit disruptive for me to bring it through the party. But
right.
if there's a back door or something.
There is. I actually, yeah, there are a few. Here, let me see. And she's just sort of looking through her pockets, and she says, "Okay." And she holds up a key. It is not a wicked key. Yeah, but she says, "All right, now this." Okay. Huh. Obviously, don't tell anyone about this.
Of course.
But this will. Let's see. I'm just looking at a place on the map here. Got it. So, you know where the Symphonic Garden is?
I do.
Okay. So it's just the border between the way in is just near along the wall at the border between the statue garden and the Symphonic Garden.
Okay.
And if you look to it, as you're going from the Symphonic Garden into the statue garden, it's to the left of the archway. And you have to look to find it, but this will help.
All right. And that will let me through with maybe a cart of some kind, a dolly to be able to move
Oh
them?
yes, it'll definitely be big enough. So yeah.
Can I bring my friends with me?
Oh yeah, no, they're fine. They're fine.
Good.
But yes, and that'll lead you directly to this level.
All right. Then it'll be fine here until I get back, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, they look like they're doing okay. Oh my goodness, he's been in about a month. I should probably get him out. She's just sort of rapidly heads over to one on the end. Starts pressing
I think
buttons.
Shaw kind of creepily leans up to the glass and pokes at it and says, "I'll see you later. We're going to take a trip." And then she clicks out of the room and up the stairs.
Excellent. Okay. Right. So there was a question about where to go next, and I think we're going to have the two groups kind of converge here a little bit that we're chatting upstairs, as Shantanu and Arushka and Araya will come over to where Mac and Vor and Charles are talking, and just sort of chatting as the party seems to have gotten back into basically almost full swing at this point. And Araya just sort of comes up and as saying, as you know, Charles has been telling another story because he never shuts up. But she just sort of raises her hand as he comes in. He says, "Ah, my dear, we were thinking of getting out of here and going either to the Broken Mirror, or we were thinking of maybe venturing out to up to Cafe Bar. I'm not sure what time of day it is. I'm not sure which it is right now." He says, that's an interesting idea. What do you folks think?"
Dinner time somewhere.
Feeling a bit peckish.
And at this point, I think Araya will sort of turn to Shantanu. What sort of... Do they serve food at the Broken Mirror? What sort of things do they serve there?
I believe what they said was they sell nourishment for the soul.
Ah. Well, that's good. That's good. I feel like we probably need something a little more solid right now. Am I right?
I could go either way.
And at this point, Charles will just sort of raise his glass. Well, you make a night of it. Soul first, body after. I might only be able to withstand one, but we'll see.
There's always the restaurant. We can find out what they're serving this time.
Oh goodness, that's right. They were food trucks not too long ago. I wonder, but they've probably changed again by now. Should we go take a look?
Yes.
Why not?
Why not just keep the party rolling?
Can Shaw make it upstairs by now to...
I hope so.
You know,
Yeah,
other friends.
I certainly hope so.
I think I come upstairs and I'm still carrying this glass of whiskey that I set down to slaughter an elderbryn, and I pick it up and I kind of shoot it back, and I'm like, I'm down for food.
Yeah, a giant telescope told me we should leave, so...
Well, I have plans for where we should take a trip. So we should go eat somewhere and talk.
Oh, okay. Sure. Do we want to go to the restaurant? Question mark? You what they're serving today?
That sounds fun.
Capital idea. So presumably you all are you all heading out? Is there anything else you want to do at the party before you leave?
No, I think we're good here.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see what the restaurant is today. Dun, dun.
Have you made a table for this yet?
Nope, I'm drawing a card. All right. The Raven. Excellent. So let's see. Meanings: jealousy, sight, trickery. Companion to the Secrets family. The Raven sees everything. And tells nothing. The Raven is smarter and wiser than it ever lets on. Its intelligence, however, manifests in its crafty solutions to problems. Some might use the word cheating, in fact. The Raven's weakness is greed and jealousy. It wants what you have, and that's branding. And that probably means your secrets. Can you keep them from its watchful eyes? Is it even worth trying? The Raven has both positive and negative connotations in divination. Most commonly, it indicates that someone is watching, jealous, usually someone unexpected. It's also a warning to beware of greed and trickery. On the positive side, however, it advises vigilance or suggests that there's a trick involved in what one must do to succeed. Either means that there's a problem that can be overcome. So I have a feeling that this is...
Is this in relation to the restaurant?
Yes, yes.
Could the restaurant be serving carrion dishes?
I think they can. I was about to... the only other thing that comes to mind is it could be a sushi place. So, with that divination.
Or one of those restaurants where everything is a magic trick to make your food show up, but it's not like Beasley magic. It's actually just like really bad, scarves out of the sleeve magic.
Wow.
It's magic-themed dinner theater.
That reminds me of the sushi restaurant I went to, which was basically a ninja castle. Like, that was the theme. And, there would just be panels that would drop open randomly where someone would just, yell at you to get you startled. But they'll do that. They'll serve all their dishes like that. So, you'd be in this room and your dish would just pop out of one of the random trap doors.
Oh, my God.
In there.
Can it be like that?
It can totally be like that. I think that's mandatory now.
Yes, carrion sushi.
So yes, carrion sushi. So yeah, so when you emerge finally, You emerge from the party. You walk back along. It's a different beach from the one you were in before. It's actually, well, let me see. The Raven is. Oh, it doesn't favor a particular magic, but it's secrets. So yeah, okay. So yeah, it's a. Let's just say it's a different beach. That's again somewhere you think, but it's sort of drifting. It's like a sandbar that's drifting with nothing on either side of it, really. When you get from it to the door, you think it's probably going through the blue from the color of the sun, or projected into the blue. It's not really there, as we established. You come through, you come out, finally come out in the house of the Eternal Party. You go down the stairs, and as you come out, you see across the way, the restaurant is a giant top hat, basically looking thing.
Oh no!
And as you get closer, you see that it's a top hat, but it's decorated with pictures, delightful sort of pictures around the hat band of fish and dragons and things that are as you're sort of looking at it in different examples of calligraphy, basically. And as you go in, you'll see these poor people who just had to figure out how to do all this today. We have these tables set up where people dressed as magicians will bring these covered plates out and cause things to appear. Some more successfully than others, because again, they just had to learn how to do all this morning. And see someone at a table like taking out a top hat and tapping it with a wand and pulling out a rabbit, and then you look one table over, there's someone doing the same thing, and they reach into the hat and then they get swallowed into the hat. Because they're trying to use real magic and they're not supposed to. And it's a little chaotic, but you're able to get a table, and you sit and you hang out, and you are somewhat entertained by this food that suddenly appears in front of you, some of it coming through trapdoors. And I think, unless anyone has anything specific they would like to do at this point, I think we're going to go ahead and call it there for the evening.
Awesome.
At the Changing Restaurant.
Good.
All right.
All right, folks. Well, we're going to go ahead then, as we have reached the end of our session. We shall do our outros. Everyone, though, will get, if has not been before, everyone will get an acumen for finishing out the party.
Yay.
And please let me know if you accomplished anything this session or recently that would, you think, give your character either joy or despair. So you can take your time, look things over, and let me know. Also, I think in the time that has come through, we've already seen a couple of the characters starting to recover some memories as a result of kind of things that happened recently, going to the party. I want to actually extend that a little bit to everybody. Come up with a memory that you think is appropriate that you think might have been triggered by anything that happened the last few sessions. And that is a new memory that your character has from before the war. And we will incorporate that. Let me know what it is. Thank you very much for playing. Let's go around and ask folks once again. Just feel free to tell folks where they can find you and any thoughts about this session. And once again, we shall start with Danielle.
Hi everybody, I am Danielle. I'm Raconteur on Twitter, Thalila on Instagram. You obviously can find me here on Saturdays. Starting this coming Tuesday, you can also find me on Stratus's channel, where I will be DMing a new game called The Choir of Elements. It's going to be a good time, so come drop by, say hello. As far as the session, I am excited to leave the party and go follow up on some of these leads that we have. Next week.
Excellent. Good. There are a lot of threads drifting out there now. We'll have to see what happens. And Anino.
Hi, my name is Anino. You can find me on Twitter at Anino Gaming. You'll find me streaming next Tuesday on this channel for Amber Diceless, and I still have no idea what I'm doing. So, it's my normal Other Doc mini campaign. So look forward to see how I pull something out of nothing, which is never really happened. But, we'll deal with it. So.
Awesome. Any thoughts about the session?
It was a nice way to wrap up the party. It seems like everybody advanced their stories a little bit, which is interesting because, you would think that it's not so much a party that would sort of spin that out. So, that's a good thing. I have no idea what that Silver Hill neighborhood is going to pan out to be. So that there's mystery afoot.
Indeed. Excellent. Arras.
Hello, I'm Arras Panthera. You can find me mostly here and on Twitter. Otherwise, I am a zoologist, so I'm talking about animals and stuff, and playing tabletop RPGs. And things just keep getting more and more ominous. You pull a card and things become ominous. All the cards just read ominous in big letters on the front.
Yeah. Basically, that's what all randomizers that I use actually say on them. Usually, is ominous. By the time they might say something else when I draw them, but by the time they get in front of me, for some reason, I can only see the word ominous. I don't understand why.
Crazy.
I know, right? It's just funny how that happens. And Wilde.
Yes, hi, Wilde Engineer. I just want to say, I think Chantineau pronounces ominous like opportunity. It's weird like that. Yeah, you can find me on Saturdays on Greyhawk for some D&D BX. I think we've only got a few more sessions of that. On Mondays, Welcome to the Party for some Masks New Generation. Also just a couple more sessions. We're coming close to the end. And starting in September, I'm actually going to be GMing a game of Masks New Generation on Welcome to the Party. Super late nights on Friday. Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Yay! Very cool. One person's ominous is another's opportunity. That's great. And finally, Djinnaya.
Hello, my name is Djinnaya. You can find me at Djinnaya everywhere. And I guess I'm here, and then I'm also starting to run some Guerrilla Underground campaigns. I'm running some off stream and then going to be starting some on stream. So one, if you're interested in playing that game, which is a fantastic PBTA game along the lines of Labyrinth and Alice in Wonderland, you should follow me on Twitter and send me a message and let me know. And two, you should follow my Twitch account at Djinnaya, and then you will get an announcement when we actually do the stream.
Excellent.
Oh, and then as far as the game, I don't know, that was super fun. I really liked kind of seeing all the different stories kind of come to a close. I'm really excited about all the pieces that we have now that we can kind of get together and start building more like group initiated adventures. So, yeah. I'm
Yay.
hoping in my head canon we've gone to this restaurant and we eat a lot of things and maybe drink a lot of weird magical sake and kind of start hashing out a lot more of kind of, oh, this is how my time at the party was. So in my head canon, that's how that goes.
Excellent. Good. Very cool. Very cool. And as for me, once again, I'm Jim Ryan. This is my channel. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, and YouTube channel. On Sundays, we do one-shots here. So tomorrow, the one-shot is going to be a game called Project Ninja Panda Taco. This is a game about masterminds trying to take over the world and the minions that help them. It is a story game. It is delightful, and I'm glad to finally get a chance to try it out. So we'll be playing that tomorrow. Tuesday, as previously mentioned, we continue our short campaign of Amber Diceless. That's this month's short campaign. And we did all the world builder last time, and this time we're going to be doing... I get actually sinking into the RP, and we'll see what happens. Reality is going crazy, as it always does. On Fridays, I am over on Off the Table, playing in their 1890s Urban Shadows campaign, so feel free to go and check that out. That's off_the-table. And once again, Saturday nights, we're doing more of this! And I cannot wait to see where these threads are going to go. I'm delighted to see it. Right now, sign-ups are open for a couple of sessions of Mythic Rome. That is a Savage Worlds setting that I created, that I'm doing a couple of one-shots for toward the end of this month, the last couple of Sundays of this month. That's basically, it's ancient Rome, but mythological creatures like centaurs and satyrs and minotaurs and such live alongside Roman citizens and participate in society. The PCs are part of the Emperor's immunes. They help defend the Empire from supernatural threats and other such things. So it's an interesting, hopefully, little thing that I hope folks like. I hope it's interesting. I don't know. Sign-ups are still open for that, so feel free to click on the sign-up link below or go to jimyesthatjim.com and click on Game Sign Up, and you can get in that way. As always, beginners are welcome. When we go to the end card, I'm going to send a raid over to Katie, Katie's channel. There is a game of Bluebeard's Bride being run over there right now. It is a game everyone should check out. They're running a variation called Carnival of Dark Wonders. I am very excited to take a look at it. So if you're so inclined, feel free to hang around and say hello to them when we get over there. And again, that will be when we hit the end card. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, folks. Take care, and I will see you all of a sudden. Farewell.